The piece of data that you have to collect for the Speed Trap Lab that might be a little tricky is the distance between the points that the vehicle traveled. And so what we're going to do is we are going to use Google Maps as an easy way to figure that out. So the first thing that we are going to do is open up Google Maps, and we are going to locate the area in which we were collecting our data. For me, I collected the data at Grant Park, which is what we're looking at here. So the next thing I'm going to do is, because this cartoony version of the map isn't as awesome as I would like it to be, or as descriptive as I would like it to be, I'm going to click on the satellite view right here. And that looks a lot closer to the actual map that we were using, or the actual area that I was working in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And as I zoom in, I have to remember that where I was when I collected the data. And I know that I was somewhere near the tennis courts. And so it looks like I'm sort of in the right area. So I'm going to kind of recenter the map, and I'm going to zoom in again. And oh yeah, that's right. I remember that I parked here, and I used this clump of trees as my starting point, and somewhere over here was that speed limit sign. So I'm going to zoom in one more time, and let's see. Yeah, that should work. Okay, so like here's the clump of trees that I use as my starting point, and here's the speed limit sign up here. I definitely recognize that. And so I'm going to be trying to get the distance that the cars traveled when they went like past the trees and then up to the speed limit sign, or if the car went past the speed limit sign and down to the clump of trees. Now, it doesn't actually matter where I start to collect the distance data here, because the distance is not going to change. But it is important that I take the pointer or the cursor and put it where I want to start the distance. So I'm going to start up here by the speed limit sign, and then I'm going to right click. And when I right click, I see that I have the option for measure distance at the bottom. So when I want to collect, so I'm going to click on measure distance, and Google Maps puts in a point. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow that pointer or the path of the cars around by simply clicking every so often where the cars would have traveled. So as I continue to click here, I have a little bit of control over the path that the car might have taken. And I see that as I'm getting closer and closer to that clump of trees, I'm just going to click at that last spot, and then I'm going to be able to record my distance that the cars traveled. So down here, it tells me the cars traveled 427.61 feet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my lab itself, and I'm going to record in the feet the car traveled section 427 point. Let's see, I forgot the distance. 0.61 feet. And that's all it is. And so that's the number that I'm going to be using for my distance calculations. So hopefully that this helps you kind of understand how we are going to go ahead and collect data. Otherwise, good luck collecting data. And if you have any questions, please contact myself or Mr. Lash or Mr. Geiger, and we will steer you in the right direction.